Hello everyone. I'd like to take a few minutes to review the course syllabus and share a few helpful hints on the online platform. I like to share with my students that I think the syllabus is more than 30 pages of fluff. It really outlines my role, expectations that you should have for me, and the expectations that I have of your behavior and actions over the course of the semester. In addition, this is the contract. The syllabus really highlights what you should be able to do, what you should know by the time the course is over. And I believe that you deserve that. You're paying for it, and I aim to provide it. Of course, you have to do your part. So I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, because who wants anyone to read anything to them? But I do want to point out some areas I think you should be clear on. Now, the syllabus itself is in the learning environment on Blackboard, and really critical pieces of it are pulled out, and you can find them under course information and resources. You'll see that some specific pieces are pulled out. So let's start with the syllabus. As you go through it, all of this stuff in the beginning, I think students typically pass over, but it's really important. There's a breakout of the principles and the applications of the Black perspective that are specific to this class. Obviously, the course objectives, what what the course is about, and what you should be able to do. And if I would encourage you to read this. You're paying for this course, and you should know these things by the time it's over. In addition, there's a great chart here that links the core competencies for social workers, practice behavior, educational outcomes, and how we will assess that. You can see that all at this table, and later in the syllabus for each of the assignments you'll see which of the CSWE core competencies they're linked to. So take some time and review that material. Obviously, we take academic integrity at Howard very seriously. I know I certainly do. I would not want anyone to take your intellectual material and use it for their own, and I do not expect any one of you to do that in the class. If you want the specifics, I've highlighted a few major issues: cheating and plagiarism. People are often very confused about plagiarism. That's why you are required to complete a plagiarism quiz at the beginning of the course. You cannot cut and paste from the internet. That is not your individual work. You cannot cut and paste from a book. That is not your individual work. You have to cite your material properly. Of course, in the School of Social Work, we use the APA manual. Plagiarism can get you kicked out of school. And I do use Safe Assign on all of my written assignments, and I will be checking to ensure that what's in your work is your own work. So if you struggle with that or have issues with it, excuse me, please let me know, and I can help you, point you in the right direction, give you some materials, help you understand how you can cite other people's ideas but do it properly. And it matters. Okay. Writing matters. It's very important. If you don't think your writing skills are at the top of their game, I highly encourage you to access the Writing Center. You can meet them in person. They can also help you online. Get a group of people together to edit each other's papers. The only way you become a better writer is by continuing to write. To have that writing edited, to learn, and to keep writing. If you're not familiar with APA format, and I'm going to assume that you guys all are, if you're stuck on something or you just need some more clarification and the manual isn't helping, this link right here, owl.english.purdue.edu, is a fantastic resource for APA. I highly recommend it. If you need any special student services, please make sure you reach out to the Office of Special Student Services, get your paperwork squared away, so that if there's anything that you need in terms of modifications or accommodations, we can make sure that happens for you. If you are or are aware of anyone who is struggling with issues of interpersonal violence, whether it's sexual assault, dating violence, domestic violence, stalking, please make that report. Talk with someone. The link here to the school's policy is available to you. Counseling services, and the violence prevention program. For the course, as I said before, this is completely online. We will not meet in person at all. You really have to have access to technology that will allow you to use Blackboard efficiently. So those requirements are listed here. You can also run a compatibility check. There is a link right here. You can just click that little link and it will tell you if your computer is up to the task. Obviously you have access to the iLab, but just make sure you're using something that allows you to open all of the attachments and watch the videos, so on and so forth. The one thing that's a little unique about the way I do online courses, you have all of the materials for the entire semester day one. So it is certainly my expectation that you get your work in on time. Even if unforeseen events happen, you do have a lot of leeway to get your work done. So let's stay on top of that. The online environment, for those of you who are new to Blackboard, it is different and some people do not adjust to it well. Some people really need the teacher standing in front of them, this sort of energy that comes from being in a classroom with other people and interacting with them. If you are not comfortable with virtually working in those different areas, the online course may be difficult. All I can say is if you've not done it before and you find you're struggling, let's try to nip that in the bud sooner rather than later. Your participation is primarily measured through your work on the discussion board. Every week, just like if we were meeting in class, we would talk about things in the classroom. We are going to do the same thing on the discussion board. I post questions, different vignettes, case studies, which you will read and respond to. And then you will also respond to two classmates as well. And I don't mean, hey, I really liked what you wrote. I mean a substantive post about something about what they wrote intrigued you, interested you, you disagreed with, you agreed with, and you have something to add to it. And your grade for that is for both your post and a good response to two other people. Every semester I have someone who doesn't take the discussion board very seriously, and at the end of the semester, when they're not passing the class, they're wondering why. It's 10% of your grade, so if you don't do any of them, you're already, down 10%. So please take them seriously. It really is a big part of you getting, really having a good experience in the class, is participating in the discussion boards. The other thing I would say, I will have announcements. I try to keep them down to about once a week. I will always announce your work for the week. If I have something else that comes up, I will post it, but I try not to be too obnoxious about it. Please pay attention when you get that email posting from the class. Please read it. I promise you I'm not going to post anything that isn't important and relevant to your success in the classroom, in the class. If you miss 6 or more discussion board assignments, you will not pass the class. You're just missing too much content, and that's the standard. So please be aware of that. Your primary text is here. You can also find it online. You guys should all have an APA manual at this point. If not, you really need one. I do grade the mechanics and the structure of your paper, and it must be an APA. Here's your evaluation. You can see how everything is broken up. There are 8 mini exams for a total of 35% of your grade. Your group midterm is 20%. Your group final paper is 35%. Class participation is 10%. Here, like I said earlier, you can see the CSWE core competencies, how they're linked to the various assignments. If you want to take that back, you'll find in this section a pretty good description of all of the assignments required. For each of the papers, there is like a 5-page sheet of instructions that's part of the Blackboard site that gives you very detailed instructions. There's no reason for you not to get a good grade on the paper. Everything is literally laid out for you. I mentioned you'll be working in groups. Those groups are already picked. If you go into the Blackboard environment, you'll see here under groups, each of the groups are here. You can see which one you're in, and each of these groups has its own smaller discussion board that only the group members can access, right here under group discussion board. This is where here's an online environment for you all to meet, to throw suggestions at one another, make decisions about how you're moving forward. You will also post your topics for your midterm, and your final will go here. I will come into this discussion board and give you a thumbs up or thumbs down on your topics. You also have the link to where you turn in your papers. Now, there's a lot of crossover on the online environment. You will also find these links under paper assignments. So It's just there for your convenience, but it's other places on the platform as well. Back to the syllabus here. The next section here just gives you a very detailed overview of the units of study and the required and recommended reading. Okay, you guys have seen all these before. Obviously, feel free to peruse it. But probably the most important pieces of paper in the syllabus is the calendar. You will see here the date of our class. Our class will meet on Wednesdays. The class number, the unit, and the basic information of what's covered. Your assignments. So for this week, you have to get the plagiarism quiz. Sometimes there are also notes in here. You have a discussion board and responses also for assignments. Start reading chapters 2 and 12. 12 is kind of a long chapter. And then in this last section here, your due dates. This is when it's due. Everything, let me make sure that's correct before I say that. Everything is due on the due date by 11:59 p.m. So you really have a little bit more leeway as opposed to if we were in a class and met at 4 o'clock. So, and the way that I work it is that you have 6 days for these assignments. So class, this is the first class, Unit 1, Introduction, Overview, and Review. Your introduction to the rest of the class is due 6 days from now. So it's due Tuesday of next week before our Wednesday class. And so you can kind of, almost everything, with a few exceptions, works that way. So if it was assigned on Wednesday, it will be due the following Tuesday. Now, having said that, always check, because there are a few exceptions over the semester. Your first discussion board of the reading is due next Tuesday. The plagiarism quiz is due next Tuesday. Obviously, with 3 things due, don't wait to the last minute. And this kind of, I think, is a really important piece of online courses. You are in charge of your pacing. You have got to figure out, here are all the things I've got to do. They're due this date. How am I going to spread this out? And I don't play any role in that other than things are due when they're due. Okay. On the 18th, you have your first mini exam. All of that is done through the online platform, through Blackboard. So I try to space things out. My goal is not to jam you up, but we do have a lot to cover over this semester. I want to note here, just so people aren't confused, our last content class is April 12th. You will then have an entire week without any other assignments to get that final paper finished, the electronic presentation finished, and they will be due on the 26th. This is a little bit different than I've done it in the past. I know how busy the end of the semester is, so I've built in this extra time here to just give you a little buffer. That doesn't mean wait till the last minute. Please, for your sake and mine, please do not do that. This would also be a time if there's something in your writing you would like for me to review. I'm happy to do that. You have to have some content for me to look at, but if you've got something and you'd like for me to give you, I'm not going to do an edit job like the Writing Center would, but I will definitely review your content if you get it to me early in that week, and let you know if you're headed in the right direction or if you're confused about something, whatnot. And that brings me to office hours. So I am not on campus at all during the semester. But I do have virtual office hours, and you can find them right here on the learning platform. I'm really available anytime. If you text me, if you email me, I'm usually pretty quick about firing something back. But if you want to have a more live interaction, I've set up these office hours from between 8 and 9 every week of our class day. So every Wednesday from 8 to 9, I'll be available on this chat platform. I will also say I've not had good luck with this working on Internet Explorer or Chrome or Safari. It works well with Foxfire, whichever one it is. But spend some time setting it up so you know how it works. So if you do need to talk with me and this time works for you, that you're able to get on there. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the syllabus. Like I said, take some time, and I'm just going to run over the sort of core, the learning platform, kind of point out some things. Whenever I make an announcement, it will be emailed directly to the email you have. So the first thing that you should do right here, this yellow in the welcome email, in the welcome announcement, please confirm that Blackboard has your preferred email address. So if you don't use your Howard email, you use Gmail, Yahoo, whatever, make sure that in Blackboard, right up here, you just click on your little name or picture if you have it. Make sure that they have your whatever email you actually look at, because these announcements get pushed out they're like on an urgent setup, so they really get pushed out very quickly. And it's important. I also encourage you to upload your photo. I'm not on campus, so if it's there, it's a way for me to connect a face with a name and get to know you a little bit better. It's easier for me because I'm terrible with recalling names if I can also have a picture. And for those of you who don't see each other on campus, another way to sort of virtually connect. So I encourage you to please download a picture, upload a picture, make sure your information is current in Blackboard. Because I will email from the Blackboard platform, the announcements, everything comes through here. So if I do not have your email, you will not hear from me, and that will make your semester difficult. The announcements are going to typically look just like this for your weekly assignment. What do you need to do? Any notes that I have, and like I said, they'll be pushed directly to your email that's in Blackboard. Here is another link to the discussions. You'll see that in each unit, you also have links to other items that are associated with that week. So introductions, the link is here. This will take you to the discussion board. The first week's unit discussion is also there. PowerPoints for the class, any videos, lectures that I have posted will be in this area. The plagiarism quiz, because it's due in this first section, is also there. You'll also see that the articles, the top tier of the suggested reading, I have done my best to find links and put them here. So you don't need to do anything but click on the link and the article will pop up for you. But you can also get to the discussion board by clicking on the left nav button as well. So while we're here, let me point out a few things. There's an area called the Student Lounge, and I do not read this. I promise. You can go in here. This is a place where you guys can talk to one another about questions, issues you have. You can also post anonymously if you feel like I'm going to read it, even though I said I won't. Wasn't Dr. Bonner grading too harshly on that last test? Whatever you want, that's your space. If you have a non-urgent question for me, something that you don't need an answer for right away, feel free to post it here. I will check this every week when I pop online to grade or update something or whatnot. But usually I will only look at it about once a week. And then you'll see the rest of the discussion boards. Again, introduce yourself, please. I will also introduce myself. Here is a class assignment for your first unit. So you're going to read, answer these questions, and so on and so forth. You will occasionally, your electronic presentations for midterm presentations, obviously since we don't meet, you will have to do a video presentation. You will post that here, and your classmates will comment, share in the forum just like they would during the week. Same thing with your final electronic presentation. That is also posted here. Okay. As I said, course information is really, I've pulled out some of the more critical things. I'm going to update this course overview. I mean, you really could watch this one, but I'm updating it anyway. So anyway, this will be updated shortly, but everything else is updated. The course syllabus is here. Like I said, I pulled out some of these things. So here are the Black perspective principles and their relation to policy 2, objectives. The all-important calendar is here. How you're going to be evaluated if you need to step back and look at that again. Here are your books, and I need to edit that, obviously. Links to the books are here. If you're new to online courses, there's an orientation that you can participate in, some different communication tools, and again, your link to your papers. It just seemed like a good place to also have access to that. Let's see. My contact information is here. You just click the link. I'm really good at responding to text, and that number is my cell phone. I'm also pretty good at email. I'd say probably, if I'm not doing anything, I'll respond right away. If I'm busy, I will probably get back to you same day. I'm pretty efficient with that. Texting, please don't call me unless it's an emergency. And I have not really had an issue with that any year. Students have been extraordinarily respectful about using my phone, so that's why I don't mind giving it out, but please don't abuse that. If you do need me and it's an emergency, please call. Some various resources for you. This online courses are all about time management. So if that's not your forte, here's some links for help with study skills, using the library, which you guys should all be familiar with, and then some more pullouts from the syllabus on the course requirements and resources. So, the bulk of the content is right here. We'll be going through these each week. And when you get to Unit 9, it'll all be wrapped up. Last two things I want to go over. The mini exams, because they are based on the weekly work, they are all here, as you can see, but they are not available. They will be available our class day. So every Wednesday at noon, the mini exams will become available to you. This link will be open. The mini exam, just like your discussion board, is due 6 days from the last class. So populates on Wednesday, it's due on Tuesday by 11:59 p.m. I cannot tell you how many people miss them, forget them, didn't make an effort. I mean, they're open book. There is no reason that all of you can't ace the mini exams. And all together, they equal 35% of your grade. So this is an easy way to put points in the bank. But I always have people who just forget, who don't do them, who skip them, So please, please, please attend to this. And right here is the link to the plagiarism quiz, another link. Okay, paper assignments. Last little bit here. Well, I have one more thing after this. Here is the document that clearly outlines exactly what is required for your paper. Read it well, read it twice if you need to. Here is a link where you can turn in the paper. You only need to turn in one paper for the group. Each of you, and this will make more sense after you read the guidelines and requirements, each of you have to turn in your individual section of the paper. I will not give you a grade if you do not show me what part of it is the work that you yourself did. Same thing for the final paper. Here is the guideline. Here's the link. Here's the link to turn in your individual section of the paper. Please do not forget to do that. It's not worth any points, but it's the only way you can get credit for the work that you did. Please read these guidelines very carefully. A lot of time was spent writing them so that you really don't have to think too hard about the paper. Just follow the instructions. And finally, I'm not sure how this appears on the student version, but somewhere you're able to access the Grade Center. And I'm not going to show it because mine will pop up with everybody's student number. But I will be grading almost every week. I will stop to do grades. It's easier that way. There may be some exceptions to that, but most of the exams will self-grade, except for the essay exams. Those I will have to read. But I do keep the grades up to date. And so you will know where you stand. I do occasionally make extra credit available. If there's something that's happening that's applicable, I may add it. But don't bet on that. So keep track of your grades. I mean, honestly, you just do yourself such a disservice to not turn your work in on time. And you have your entire semester, at least for my class, you know exactly when everything is due for the whole semester. I'll end with this. Both of the papers for this class are group assignments. And inevitably, someone is not happy about that. There's a reason we assign group assignments for social workers. And I'm sure you all have either heard it already or you understand why it's important. The bottom line is, in our line of work, we have to be able to work with people. People who are sometimes different from us, sometimes people with different agendas. We've worked really hard to make sure that you get credit for the work that you do, but there is a group component. And so what I would say to you is, don't be that person who doesn't return emails or doesn't answer the phone or doesn't make time to meet with your group. Don't be that girl or guy. That puts other people in a really terrible situation. And you wouldn't want it done to you. So please be a good steward to your classmates. Do the work that's assigned to you. Meet your group deadlines. Answer your emails. Return phone calls. This is required. So I'm always confused by people who give their group members a hard time. If you really are struggling, if you have some sort of personal issue with the group member, say something to me so that I can restructure the groups early. But don't just not show up for your classmates. I find that very deplorable behavior. And I expect better. I expect you all to work together, just like you would if you were professionals in the field, and some of you probably are already. So that's it. I'll be online at 8 o'clock if anyone has any questions, concerns. I'm looking forward to this semester and to seeing your work, and I'm sure it will be great. All right, take care.